There is a certain kind of lie America tells itself with a straight face. It says this country hates waste. It says taxpayers are tired of reckless spending. It says every dollar matters. But that moral panic only seems to wake up when the money is about to help ordinary people survive. Because when poor families need food assistance, suddenly the nation becomes a church of austerity. Every grocery dollar is interrogated. Every medical bill becomes a political sermon. Every safety net program is treated like a crime scene. But when the Pentagon blows through $93.4 billion in grants and contracts in a single month, with $50.1 billion spent in just the last 5 working days of September 2025, the outrage gets quiet fast. And buried inside that mountain of spending were the kinds of purchases that make the whole performance feel rotten. Open the books. Highlighted $15.1 million in ribeye steak, $6.9 million in lobster tail, $2 million in Alaskan king crab, $5.3 million in Apple devices, including 400 iPad Air M3, and even a $98,329 Steinway grand piano for the Air Force Chief of Staff's home. That is not the entire $93 billion and $400 million, but it is enough to expose the hierarchy of outrage in this country. And let's be precise, because precision matters. There is no evidence in that reporting that Pete Hegseth personally signed every one of those purchases. Federal contracting authority is generally exercised by contracting officers, not by the Secretary of Defense personally. So the real point is not that Hegseth sat at a desk ordering crab legs one by one. The point is that this happened under his Pentagon, inside a system that can always find money when the spending flatters power, status, or bureaucracy. Now compare that silence to the fury aimed at programs that keep people alive. In 2025, analysis of the House Reconciliation Bill found that expanding Supplemental Nutrition Assistance Program work requirements would cut the program by $92 billion through 2034 and take food assistance away from 3,200,000 people in a typical month. Separate estimates found Medicaid work requirements could put roughly 9.9 million to 14.9 million people at risk of losing coverage in 2034. And this does not hit some abstract population floating in the clouds. One analysis found that 1 in 4 veterans lived in a household that received SNAP, Medicaid, or CHIP at some point in 2023. That is the part they do not want said out loud, because once you line the numbers up, the pattern stops looking accidental. A mother needing help to buy groceries is treated like a burden. A worker needing Medicaid is treated like a suspect. A family falling behind is told to prove its worth, document its suffering, and apologize for existing. But luxury-tinged excess inside the machinery of power gets dressed up as routine business, national security, or just the cost of doing government. That is not fiscal discipline. That is class-coded morality. That is a system where compassion is audited, but prestige spending is normalized. A system where the poor are forced to live under a microscope while the powerful eat behind tinted glass. A system that demands humiliation from the struggling and calls it responsibility, while calling elite waste an administrative detail. And that is the harsh truth. America does not consistently punish waste. It selectively punishes need. It does not reserve its deepest suspicion for bloated institutions. It reserves it for ordinary people asking to survive. So the next time somebody screams about taxpayer dollars feeding a hungry family, ask them where that moral fire goes when millions are spent on ribeye, lobster, crab, premium tech, and even a piano for a senior official's home. Ask them why public mercy is always too expensive, but elite indulgence is always somehow affordable. Ask them why sacrifice is mandatory at the bottom and optional at the top. Because the scandal is not just what gets spent. The scandal is who gets judged. It is a confession about whose lives are treated as expensive and whose excess is treated as normal.